Hello everyone and welcome back to Nothin But Net, where we talk all things and everything basketball. And today we're going to be going over three main things that have happened in the NBA over the last week. We have the NBA draft lottery, we have the NBA conference finals matchups being set and complete, and we have the Shai Gilgeous Alexander winning NBA MVP. Fact is, you can love him, you can hate him, but we have to appreciate the greatness, you know what I mean? This guy, he reminds me of 2016 Steph Curry, and the fact is, it's kind of a similar storyline. The parallels are very evident in the fact that Steph Curry won MVP in 2015, Shai won in 2025. Steph Curry won his first ring in 2015, Shai won his first ring in 2025. Now they come back and the Warriors went 73-9, but the Thunder came back. They had an all-time season as well, and Shai wins his back-to-back second MVP. But this MVP he was more valuable to his team this year because Jalen Williams missed a lot of time, you know what I mean? Aaron Wiggins wasn't the same player that he was last year. You know, AJ Mitchell stepped up and stuff like that, but there was a lot of inconsistencies, especially on the offensive end for the Thunder this year, and the only consistent guy this year was Shai, and he was the best player, and he was the most consistent player, and he was the most valuable player to this Thunder team. So I can easily see why they gave him the MVP this year. And like you said, Cole, he was the best player on the best team. So I think, in my opinion, you know what I mean? You don't like Shai. I love Shai. I think he has one of the smoothest mid-range jump shots you've ever seen, and just it's like butter every time you see it. You have to appreciate greatness, you know what I mean? And I think Shai is already the greatest Thunder of all time. I think Shai is already a top 3 guard of all time. I think so. I genuinely think he's a top 3 guard of all time. I think he's passed up Chris Paul, Russell Westbrook, Jason Kidd, Steve Nash, that tier of players. I think he's right behind Steph and Magic. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but yeah, you have to appreciate greatness. You have to appreciate the entire greatness that is this Thunder team, and I think Shai deserved the MVP this year.
Yeah, I definitely understand where you're coming from. You do have to, at some point just be like, oh yeah, this guy is the real deal. I mean, it was kind of the same, a lot of people didn't really like Steph when he was kind of
they didn't
getting into where he is now, just the superstar. They didn't like that he was shooting so many threes. But yeah, you kind of just have to respect it because of how good he is at what he does.
Yeah, and I feel also the flopping narrative for Shai, the free throw line stuff, it's so overplayed. He has so much more aspects to his game. He's an elite defender. He's an elite offensive player. So all this stuff that's oh yeah, we have to play against the refs and the Thunder. Shai always flops. It's just it's so overplayed to me, bro. It's not do you even watch basketball if you say that? You know what I mean? So yeah, but cool. Who would you say deserved the MVP if it wasn't Shai?
I'd probably go for Wemby, mainly because he hasn't won an MVP before, and the Spurs had a better overall season compared to the Nuggets.
Okay.
I think that I think the voters still have voter fatigue for Jokic.
There's no way he should have won a fourth one. Yeah.
Yes, so I don't think they would have voted for him. So I think Wemby had a very good season as well. But I mean, compared to Shai, I think it's pretty comparable, their seasons, if I'm being honest. But yeah, Shai, I think, is still deserving of MVP.
Yeah, I think for me the biggest factor is Wemby being 7'5" and only averaging 24. I know points per game isn't the biggest metric of dominance, right? But being 7'4" to win MVP, you should average, especially the way that people are scoring in this league today, you should be averaging around 27, 28, 29. You know what I mean? So to average 24, I mean, he's still got the deep boy, but you know what I mean? I think he needs to take a big scoring leap in order to be an MVP, real MVP debates. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But if we move on from Shai, obviously great player. Let's talk about they were the 1 seed, but the 15-14 seed in the Western Conference was the Sacramento Kings, who got very unlucky in the NBA draft lottery, winning the 7th overall pick in the draft. Cole, what's your opinion on that and the draft lottery as a whole?
It's unfortunate, man, for us Kings fans, we can't get any luck in the lottery, it seems. Of course, we'll still get, hopefully, a good player in the draft, but obviously not to the levels that we hoped, like AJ DeBanster or Cam Boozer. But, I mean, yeah, Washington is looking very good now, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Whether or not Trae Young and Anthony Davis play actual games next year is to be seen, but
yeah.
Other than that, their young core is looking pretty good. Kings.
It's like the Kings were really like the Kings were genuinely bad this year. Like Utah didn't play Jaren Jackson and Laurie and all those guys. Like they didn't play them towards the end of stretch of the year on purpose. And then Doug Christie was like, "Oh yeah, I want to win games to establish a culture and all that jazz and stuff." It's like now we get rewarded with the 7th pick. They get the 2nd, and they get a generational player in Darren Peterson. It's like, you know what I mean? Like Adam Silver. Like, what are we doing, bro? You know what I mean? It's like, what are we doing? But I think Cole. Have you looked into the prospects that the Kings might be looking to draft?
Not really, but I kind of think that I kind of definitely want them to get a guard. I know there's a good guard that might fall to them. That's like a good two-way player. I forget his name, but I know he's
Darius Acuff.
Yeah, him. He's good defense. He's a point guard. That's kind of what the Kings need right now, is a defensive point guard.
Wait. I might be thinking of a different guy than you, because Darius Acuff is not a good defender whatsoever. But I think I know who you're talking about, though.
Yeah, we just need a point guard that can defend well, and I think this team will be better than they were last year, which isn't saying much.
Yeah.
But.
Well, I mean, I think for me, there's like 4 good guards in that range. Obviously, I haven't looked into like the specifics of the draft and stuff like that, but I think if we get a guy like Acuff, Wagler, Mikal Brown Jr., or Kingston Flemings, I think we'll be chill. Those are like the 4 main scoring point guards in the draft. Obviously, I would prefer Acuff or Mikal Brown over especially Flemings. I just don't like Flemings as a prospect whatsoever. But if you want to see more draft stuff, tune into the Nothin But Net live NBA draft reaction June 23rd. Let's do it. But Cole, what does this mean for Washington and Utah and Memphis' future? They're getting the top 3 picks in the draft.
Well, for Washington, I think you have to start looking at them as a potential play-in threat, especially if AJ DeBanster, like his talents in college, convert really quickly to NBA level, which I don't see why they wouldn't. For Memphis, I think like the rebuild is definitely going along very well. I don't really expect them to like actually contend more than they did this year. But I think they'll be better. And for Utah, they're looking very scary. They got a lot of young guys. Lauri Markkanen's still there. They have Jaren Jackson Jr. now. And whoever they draft at number 3 is going to definitely help them. Maybe they'll be a play-in threat next year. Who knows?
You said you're looking at Washington as a potential play-in threat, but I see them as like the Spurs from last year, getting the 2nd overall pick and then becoming the 2 seed, right? They have Trae Young and Anthony Davis. Alex Sarr is fantastic. They have Keyshawn George. They have a lot of other pieces around them, and now they're adding AJ DeBanster. I think that this Wizards team can be a top 4 seed in the East next year, and I might be tripping, but their roster is fantastic. But Cole, let me ask you this question: do you think that the Grizzlies trade Ja Morant now?
It depends who they draft and what the offers are like, because like we know that Ja's offers, especially recently, have like not been
gone down.
Yeah, they've gone down. They haven't been as great as they were maybe like 2-3 years ago, especially after all of his injuries. But I mean, it's possible, but. I mean, they might still want to try to build around him. He's still relatively young, but I don't know. I could see them trading him, but I could also see them trying to build around him again.
Yeah, if you're Scott Perry, would you do Zach LaVine in pick 7 for Ja Morant in pick 3?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd do it 100%.
Yes, I'd definitely do that. I don't understand why the Grizzlies would do that, but I would love that.
Well, yeah, I mean, Ja Morant's trade value at this point is like 2 pennies and a paper clip. So, I mean, like, but yeah. I just want to get off. I genuinely like what you were saying. I just want a point guard in the draft, and I just want someone who we can build around. Like, I don't want to see DeRozan, Levine, or Sabonis on the roster next year at all. But knowing Scott Perry and knowing the Kings, they're going to draft Yaxel Landenberg. So, so that's just how it's going to work. But actually, no, Scott Perry. Cole, do you know Darius Acuff, the guard from Arkansas, who John Calipari coached?
I might.
So his dad played for I believe it was Eastern Kentucky, in like 1998. And do you know who was the head coach of Eastern Kentucky in that season?
I'm assuming it's gonna be Scott Perry.
It was Scott Perry. So I think that's the family connection right there, and the Kings are gonna draft Acuff, which I mean a lot of people are actually seeming a little mad about. I wouldn't be too mad about that because Calipari guards always turn out pretty good, especially except for Rob Dillingham. But other than that, Calipari guards have a good track record in the NBA. Except for Rob Dillingham, yeah.
Except for Rob Dillingham.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Cole, what does this mean for the Chicago Bulls as well? Getting a top 4 pick, maybe getting Caleb Wilson.
All right, they did get a top 4 pick. I mean, hopefully they actually can rebuild now. Actually, they have some good young pieces. I think Matas Buzelis looked pretty good this year.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
I think that you kind of just continue building up. I don't really know if Josh Giddey's gonna be that guy for you in the future, but I mean he hasn't been horrible in the 2 years that the Bulls have had him. But I mean, I think if you're the Bulls, you're kind of just living life to the fullest right now. Your team is pretty young. You got a pretty good pick. Just develop the guys you have, and
I think that the Bulls.
I'm not going to say they're going to be a play-in team, but they're.
It's just their rebuild's going good.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I think the Bulls are in the best position coming out of the draft because there are 4 elite guys in this draft, right? AJ, Darren Peterson, Cam Boozer, and Caleb Wilson. So for the Bulls, you don't even have to think about it. You just watch the first 3 go, and whoever falls to you, you get a franchise player. You know what I mean? So they are chilling. They have a new GM. He's finally embracing the rebuild, which is just fantastic for them. And Cole, you mentioned Josh Giddey. You were like, I don't know what the future is for Josh Giddey there. That's where I'm going to have to disagree with you, actually, because a lot of people have been saying trade Josh Giddey, trade this, trade that. But Josh Giddey is a 23-year-old walking triple-double on a great contract, and he's 23. I don't know why they would ever trade him, and he's 6'8". He could genuinely be their franchise point guard, you know what I mean? And he's, like you said, he's been playing good for the Bulls in the last 2 years that they've had him. So I genuinely think that if they can build around a young core of Josh Giddey, Matas Buzelis, Caleb Wilson, Noah Essengay, shout out Noah Essengay, what a guy. But yeah, I think that the Bulls are looking really good. They just need to get a center next year to replace Vucevic, and they're looking fantastic. Shout out Kenny Beecham.
Yeah. But I mean, I could definitely see the Bulls sticking with Josh Giddey. But I don't know if they get a really good guard in the draft. I mean, granted they already have a ton of guards on their team. But
yeah, if Peterson falls to them or something.
Yeah, I mean, but I could see Josh Giddey staying around, but I think I don't know, depending on how long the rebuild goes, you might want to trade him because he I would say he has some decent value right now.
But he has really good chemistry with Matas and all them, and he's around the same age. I'd keep him. I think he can really be a franchise point guard. But speaking of point guards, Cole, the Clippers have the 5th pick. They have Darius Garland, and after the top 4 go by, we're looking at people like Darius Acuff, Keaton Wagler, guys like those. Do you think that the Clippers would take a point guard, or they would go for a more of a win-now player like Yaxel Landenberg or a Daymar or a big or something like that? Or they just take the best player available?
I think they probably would go for a win-now player, if I'm being honest, because I think the Clippers are in a interesting position where, the year before, 2 years ago, they were pretty good, they made the playoffs. I think they were the 5 seed when they went against the Nuggets, but they lost in 7. Then this year they were really bad for the first half, and then the second half they got better. They were playing up to their form last year, but then they kind of blew it up, traded away James Harden and Zubac, which is how they got the 5th pick by trading Zubac.
Which was a fantastic trade, by the way, for Zubac.
Yeah. I think they could go a win-now player, but I think it depends who exactly falls for them and what they need. I don't really think they're going to take a point guard per se because they have Darius Garland.
Yeah.
But I think they'll most likely go big here.
Okay.
5th pick.
I'd agree with that too, especially because I want a point guard to fall to the Kings. You know what I mean? But,
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. And then shout out the Indiana Pacers also as we finish off with the NBA Draft Lottery section of this episode. And finally, we are going over to the conference finals. Really quickly, Cole, do you have any last thoughts to say about the lottery before we move on to conference finals? Or
no?
Just the Kings need more luck. Adam Silver, please recognize Sacramento. We are a real team, and we are ethical tankers. We are not unethical who benched Jaren Jackson Jr. in our last 5 months of the season. Danny Ainge, I'm talking to you, Will Hardy.
Yes, please give Utah's pick to us.
Give Utah's pick to us. There we go. Oh, Shai Gilgeous Alexander just tied the game to go to overtime. But as we go over to the conference finals, Oklahoma City Thunder versus San Antonio, and we have Cleveland versus New York. Cole, I'm gonna start this off myself. Maybe I'm speaking for myself. Maybe I'm speaking for the public when I say we want Knicks versus Spurs. It feels like the Thunder and the Spurs have been on a train course collision all the way into the conference finals. Obviously, Minnesota suffered with some injuries, but the San Antonio was the better team the entire time. And then LA, we already spoke about LA last episode. But I think when you look at the matchups that they've had this entire time, Jalen Williams said it himself after they lost to them 3 times in a row back in like November-ish. They have a 7'4" guy who takes up a lot of space on the court. And obviously that the Thunder have Hartenstein and Chet, but Wemby, he kind of has like a little superpower boost whenever he plays Chet. And then you got Castle and Harper and Fox matching up with Shea. You got Keldon Johnson. And I just think that it would be so cool to see Wemby, the guy who's passionate about the game, because when Shea won MVP, and I'm a really big Shea fan, he was really nonchalant about it, and that kind of pissed me off, I'm not going to lie. That was kind of really weird and bad for the game. So it would be really cool to see Wemby, the guy who's passionate, the guy who gives his all every game, the guy who trying to turn the San Antonio arena into a European football vibe. It would be cool to see him in the NBA Finals for his first year. And then Spurs versus Cavs is just like no aura whatsoever. We need to see Madison Square Garden in the finals. So, with that being said, Knicks Spurs would be my dream finals matchup. You get Cat, who's turned into mini Jokic, versus Wemby in the finals. You get Brunson versus Shea. You got the Bridges and Anunoby twins versus Shea. That would just be my dream matchup. Cool. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't really care who comes out of the East. I just want San Antonio to win in the West. I do not want to see OKC in the finals this year.
I agree.
But I think that, like, looking at the Eastern Conference Finals, I think it's going to be a really good matchup between Cleveland and New York.
It's going to be a really good matchup between OKC and San Antonio, too. They're just in overtime now.
But, like, for Cleveland and New York, I think when I look at those two, I think they have very similar problems, which is that they turn over the ball a lot. I think New York didn't do it too much against Philadelphia, but Cleveland definitely had their issues against Detroit. Obviously, they blew them out in Game 7, but regardless, they had, in the first few games, they had like 20 turnovers each game or something like that.
Yeah, it was bad, yeah.
So when I'm looking at Eastern Conference Finals, I think if Cleveland can stay clean, which they haven't been able to the first 2 series, these playoffs, but if they can stay clean and not turn over the ball, I think they have a really good chance. If they do, I expect New York to capitalize off the turnovers, and so long as they don't make turnovers of their own, I'm looking at you, Karl-Anthony Towns. I think New York has a good chance. So I think whoever wins the turnover battle will win the series.
Yeah, cool. You said I'm looking at you, Karl-Anthony Towns, and I was just about to say something about that. I don't know if it's just me, but this entire playoffs, it's looked like when the Knicks get down to the crunch time situations, it's just been Jalen Brunson and everyone else get out the way. And now Karl-Anthony Towns, who's the second best player on this team, is going up against the twin towers of Evan Mobley and Jared Allen. Cole, how do you think Cat is going to match up with them, especially because he has not been good in the crunch time and in the turnover battle this entire playoff so far, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I expect to see a lot of Mitchell Robinson in the series because I think he does pretty well against tall bigs. Cat, not so much. I think that he'll probably be hindered quite a bit by Mobley and Allen, but I think it won't really affect the Knicks too much.
Oh yeah, and you still think they're gonna pull through?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, I'll probably take the Cavs in 7.
Oh wow!
But I definitely see if like Jalen Brunson can just go demon mode in the fourth quarter, then the Knicks can definitely win the series.
Yeah. But also when you look at the other end, you pick Cavs in 7. But do you trust James Harden? I know he had a fantastic Game 6, but he has been on and off this entire playoffs. People were calling him like a one of one playoff choker after the Cavs went down 2-0. Just like, do you trust him? Like, I don't even know if I trust him. I know he's back in the conference finals and he had a fantastic Game 7, but just what do you think about him?
I think he's definitely been very hot and cold during these playoffs. But I think that when I look at it, I think that Harden, like if he can, I think Harden honestly might be like the main difference maker. If he does not turn over the ball and can actually like do what James Harden does best, which is score and pass the ball really well, then the Cavs have a really good chance. But I think the problem with Detroit and all the turnovers, he was just forcing passes that he didn't really have
100%, yeah.
I think honestly the entire team was doing that. I saw definitely a couple forced passes from Jared Allen in like Game 2. I think if Cleveland's able to slow their offense down and just get worthwhile passes and not just try to get the ball to whoever's in front of you or whoever's around you, just willy-nilly, then I think Cleveland definitely has a good shot to win.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you on that. Like, they were forcing a lot of stuff, and if they can just slow the game down, they can easily win the series. But cool, how easy is it going to be for them to slow the game down when you're guarded by Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby, and you also have Karl-Anthony Towns, who just turned into like a good defender in like his year, in the 11th year of his career. He's just like mini Jokic, but with defense now. So I don't know. I mean, at the end of the day, I think I would pick the Knicks purely because we've seen the Knicks in the conference finals the past year. We've seen these guys in these situations before, but Donovan Mitchell's never been to a conference finals. He's been inconsistent all playoffs, except for that one Game 6 versus Detroit where he just went crazy. James Harden, like we just spoke on him, he's been inconsistent. Jared Allen feels like he just has a big Game 7 and then stinks the bed the next 2 games. You know what I mean? So I think I would trust New York just because of their experience and the fact that they've been here last year. And also the fact is that Cleveland, they went on the road to Detroit and then they went straight to New York, right? So they could be a little tired. There could be some, the New York Knicks are at home. It's Madison Square Garden, and the Cavs,
also had
how built are they for that? You know what I mean? Yeah. And the Knicks have been that brings me to my next point, which I was about to say. Cole, do you remember the NBA Finals 2023 between the Nuggets and the Heat?
Yeah.
The Nuggets, they swept the Lakers, right? And then the Heat were up 3-0 on the Celtics. The Celtics came back, forced a Game 7, and the Heat won in 7. And I remember the memes that entire series were just the Heat and Celtics battling it out this entire time, and then the Nuggets were just sleeping since Tuesday, right? They've been asleep, they've been snoozed, right? And that was so evident in the actual finals themselves because the Nuggets looked like clearly the better, more rested team. Well, the Jimmy Butler's legs looked like they were about to fall off by like game 2. You know what I mean? So I feel like that exact same scenario is going to play out. New York swept Philadelphia. Well, Cleveland went to a game 7. They're going to be much well rested. They're going to have home court advantage, and I think that's what's going to give the edge to New York, even though that in the clutch time it low-key has just been look like Jalen Brunson and friends. But I think New York takes it in 6.
Yeah. I think like the thing about Jalen Brunson, like you said, Jalen Brunson and friends, like there is a reason why he was clutch player of the year, like 2 years ago?
Two years ago, yeah.
Like it's because like he's amazing when it matters.
He is.
And like I'm honestly okay with him just taking over in the fourth quarter because of just how good he's been for the Knicks in the fourth quarter. For sure. While I would like to see more production from everybody else not named Jalen Brunson, I'm like, so long as they're winning games, I don't really care.
That's valid, 100%. But when it comes to the conference finals, I don't think that you're going to get away with that luxury, you know what I mean? I don't think you're going to have the luxury of just having Jalen Brunson step up in the fourth and carry your team to a win. Like, especially if you're facing an elite team like Cleveland, you're going to need the other guys to step up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but if we go over to the West, this is going to be a bloodbath gauntlet series. But Cole, I think you and I at the end of the day can both pick San Antonio. I mean, what's there to speak on, I guess, right?
Yeah, I think San Antonio most likely will win the series. I think I just kind of go back to the regular season series. San Antonio won that. Like they did it in multiple ways. I know they had like 2 blowouts and one of the games was close. But they're not with De'Aaron Fox for game 1, and they're
up 4.
They're up 4 in overtime. And even if they lose game 1, the fact that it's this close without your top point guard, it shows that San Antonio is looking very good for this series. I think they have a pretty good chance to win. But I can never count out OKC, man.
You can never count out OKC, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm gonna go Spurs in 6.
I'd say for me, despite the San Antonio Spurs having the 6th man of the year, the fact is that through the middle of the fourth quarter of this game, I saw a stat where the Thunder bench was outscoring the Spurs bench by about 20 points. And that's really going to matter at the end of the day, especially because both teams' starting lineups are elite. Right now, Alex Caruso has 30 points in overtime. AJ Mitchell has been playing insane all playoffs, right? And that's going to matter in the playoffs, and that does matter in the playoffs. And this Thunder team is champions. Yes, I would love to see the Spurs. Obviously, I want to see the Spurs win this series. Let's get that clear. But I gotta pick OKC to win it. Like I genuinely don't see how the reigning champions, who are the best team in the league, objectively, who haven't played the Spurs since 2025, I don't see how they lose this series, especially with J-Dub fully healthy, Shai MVP, the bench stepping up, AJ Mitchell's rise. I think. And AJ Mitchell just shot a 3 and he missed it. But I think OKC takes it. And I think they would take it in 7, though, because San Antonio is a fantastic team. And Devin Vassell is a fantastic... Not Devin Vassell. Dylan Harper is a fantastic player in De'Aaron Fox's replacement spot as De'Aaron Fox comes back. But I got to go OKC. Dream matchup, though, Spurs. And I'm going to root for the Spurs, though. But I got to go OKC.
Yeah, that's definitely fair.
Yeah. So cool. Who would we say our dream NBA Finals is? I already said mine, but what about you?
I also go Spurs Knicks. Honestly, I don't really care. It comes out of the East, Cavs or Knicks. But I definitely want San Antonio to come out of the West. That's for sure. Yeah,
100%. Well, there you go. Nothin But Net's official NBA Finals favorites that we want is Spurs Knicks. Catch us in the next episode, which is the NBA Draft on June 23rd. We will be having a very special guest on that episode. Cole, you got anything to say?
Go Spurs.
Go Spurs. There we go. See y'all. Por vida. There we go. Thank y'all for watching,
Yeah.
and we'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.
Peace.